Hey guys, here is the next episode of A Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So this morning I started off by wrapping up the 66 2-liter. As you may remember if you've been watching, the front suspension on this car, which I had installed for the owner previously, he had some kind of low quality components that made the front suspension very stiff. The arms were binding. I think there were some other issues going on. The car was very hard to steer, had pretty much no real suspension travel at all. So yesterday or over the past couple days, I installed some really high quality, nice suspension from Air-Cooled Vintage Works, and the car, I took it out for a pretty long test drive today. Got up on the freeway. The car rides amazing now. It pretty much rides about like a stock car. The lowering, I should mention, on the car is primarily due to 2.5-inch drop spindles. So the arms are sitting pretty much at a stock location. So you can see the car is not super slam, but has a nice little rake to it. It can definitely go lower and still have a nice ride quality, but for now I've got it set up here and we'll see how the owner likes it. But yeah, so this morning put the gas tank back in it, put all the under the hood covers and stuff back in, put pretty much a whole canister of grease in the front end. It was all new, so it took a lot of grease to grease up the front end. Yeah, took it on a long drive. Car is great now. I think the owner is going to be really happy with that. While I was at it, just kind of doing routine safety check on the car, I noticed that one headlight was not working. Thought it was a bulb that was out, but it actually ended up being a wire that had come disconnected from a butt splice. So once I found that, super simple to fix it. Previously I had fixed a brake wire that had somehow come undone from the connector, the wire pulled out of the connector. So I fixed that, some other little things like that on this car. But yeah, so it's done. I think he's going to pick it up Saturday, and again, I think he's going to be real happy with the car. I don't think he's been driving it because the front suspension and steering were so awful on this car. But now I think he's really going to enjoy it. He's got some new wheels coming in, widened smoothies, I think 6-inch smoothies on the back and stock width on the front. Probably put on some pretty meaty tires on the back and something a little bit smaller on the front. Car's going to look killer for sure. So after I finished that, I moved on to the Gray Bug, the Euro 59. And this car, previously I had the Semaphores hooked up, but I didn't have a resistor in series with them. The Semaphores are restored 6-volt Semaphores. The car, being a hot rod, is a 12-volt car. And so I did what I've done on one of my cars. The Red 55 is kind of the same setup, 12-volt car, 6-volt Semaphores. And what I found was, in fact, I've got a video on this, is a half ohm 100-watt resistor drops the 12 volts to about 6.5 volts. It works really good on these cars. The voltage is perfect for the Semaphores. They work really well. And in fact, I also, at the same time, I went ahead and put in blinking semaphore bulbs. Got a little short video on that, but for those of you that haven't seen that, let me go ahead and show that real quick. So I'm going to pause here while I get this hooked up. There we go, all hooked up. So now, there we go. So the semaphore bulbs, the flashing ones, the whole flashing circuit is built into the bulb itself. So the switch here doesn't flash. The thing doesn't go up and down like if you put a like a regular flasher relay in or anything like that. Pretty much a simple bolt-on ordeal where you just put the bulb in, you replace the stock bulb with that one, and bam, you've got flashing semaphore bulbs. Those are from CIP1, and they're available in both 6-volt and 12-volt. So again, on this car, since I dropped the voltage to the semaphore to 6 volts, I got the 6-volt flashing LED bulbs, and bingo. So I think, I like those a lot, just because I think other drivers who don't really know old Volkswagens, if they see something sticking out of the side of the car and the light is just on steady illumination, it's probably not going to really occur to them that that's a turn signal. But I feel like when they're flashing, people are going to recognize, hey, this is a turn signal. it's on the left-hand side of the car, that means the driver is going to turn left. So to me, at least, it makes the semaphores a little bit more functional, in that other drivers will probably recognize a flashing amber light as a turn signal versus what's that weird light sticking out of the side of a car that's not flashing. So I went ahead and mounted the resistor up in here. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, lighting's not that bad, but it's right there, and it's hard to see on purpose. So I painted the resistor black, just a real light coat of paint. I didn't want to, coat it too much and make it too insulated as far as retaining heat. But yeah, and then I mounted it to the dash right there pretty discreetly, so you can't see it. And basically, you just wire that in series with the supply of the semaphore wiring, and bingo, you've got 6 volts at the semaphores. And yeah, so other than that, that was the main thing I did on this car. A couple other things not worth really mentioning. On the EV Bug, the 69, today, thanks to my son who helped me out, since I'm in the shop today without Rafa, we actually bled the brakes. So that's kind of exciting. So we've got a really nice pedal fill on this car now. Look at that. And it is super solid. This massive master cylinder on this car is, I think, 25 millimeters, big dual circuit, obviously, for these enormous brakes on this car. So yeah, this thing is going to have killer brakes, and from day one, this is what I wanted on this car. Again, to help the owner not get himself in trouble with this car. The EV car is going to have a lot of power, a lot of torque, and so I wanted to make sure the owner could stop the car quickly if needed, if he kind of got a little bit carried away with his throttle on this thing. So yeah, a little progress. I think that's probably, bleeding the brakes was probably the last major thing before the body goes on as far as the pan's concerned. Only other thing really is putting the pan to body seal on it. I'll probably wait till maybe the day of or the day before we put the body on it to put that on. But yeah, so there we go. Pretty productive day overall. Got this car done. It can go back to the customer. Got the brakes bled on the EV chassis, and then we now have semaphores running at 6 volts and flashing on the 59. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you soon.